Welcome back. Today I'm going to play a rapid game on chess.com. And I'm always a little nervous when I get ready to play a game in front of the camera live because I know that some of my attention is spent on the fact that I'm being recorded. But I'm going to do my best. We're going to play 10-minute with no increments. And I don't think we need any further introduction. Let's just click play. I think I have it set on random colors, but so I don't know what I'll get. It is searching. Okay, I got the, what? Sorry, I don't know what that thing was that just popped up over the screen. That was weird. Okay, my opponent is letting their time run down. Okay, they have played. That was a really odd thing that popped up on the screen there. Okay, I don't know what that is. It says it's the Basque opening. Okay, I guess this is to prevent me from putting this here because they can just play that pawn. Should I try D5 then or C5? I don't think I've ever seen this version of the Indian game. I don't know. Let's try C5. Okay. Well, I mean, that's one interesting thing about chess is how often we get, unusual openings. So I guess I can trade a flank pawn for a center pawn and be okay. And then get this out at some point, maybe to D6. Okay. They want to fianchetto both bishops. That's a little unusual. I don't really like the knight sitting there. So let's see if they want to trade for it. They did. All right. Now I have another c-pawn. I don't know why we can't go ahead and put this guy right here and then push that pawn. I think I can castle now. The only thing I'm going to have to worry about, I guess, is when they start lining up here. And I assume this, not there probably, but I assume this knight's going to try to come for this knight. But I don't know. I also can just advance some pawns, I think. Maybe put this here. Like so. Actually, I can advance that pawn again, but then that reopens their bishop. So let's put this here to protect this pawn two different ways. And I'll get my queen off the back rank like so, which protects this and this. And then I need to get my light squared bishop off the back rank as well. I think I'm doing okay. Everything is defended. And I think I'm going to push this and get the bishop off the back rank this way. Maybe aim at their rook and force it to move. Now it probably wants to be on the e-file anyway. Oh, well, they put their queen there, so I guess that's good. Then they're going to have to block with this pawn, and then I'll take it, I guess? Or will I push past? I don't know. Oh, they're going to let me have the rook for a bishop. I'll take it. Okay, and then I don't like that that's the only thing defending that knight. Should I try to move the knight now, like in here? But then where would it go after that? Or should I don't know. I'm going to put the bishop back over here to protect the knight. Oh no, I just gave up that pawn. Oh, yep, they saw it. Well, good job. Good for them. Okay, maybe start pushing this one then. Yep, I noticed as soon as I did it, I gave up the pawn, but I'm up in exchange, so hopefully that'll come in handy here before too long. Okay, and then, you know what? I wonder if I could take this. If they take, then I'll get the knight, right? Is that how this is going to work? Can I pick up the pawn and the knight, or do I just get a free pawn? Okay, I think I got the knight. That did work, because their bishop was the only thing defending that knight. So I regained the pawn, but they're going to be able to take this one back, I guess. Oh, I gave up that pawn if they want it. Oh, they didn't want it. Okay. Can I go back and defend that other pawn then? I don't know if it was a good idea for them to take it, but they could have gone back up that pawn. Oh, okay. Let's see. I can throw... Oh, that's a fork. I like it. And if they take, then my rook's aimed at their queen. I assume they need to move the queen. They did, and then I will take their rook. I need to create a what do you call it? A hidey hole here, getaway square for my king. Okay, they're going to go after that pawn. I don't think I can protect it without... Is that the... I think I should probably move one of those other two pawns and let that one go, right? Or no. Wow, I almost moved over there to protect that pawn, but I can move here to protect that pawn, I think. And then I'm also threatening the bishop. Okay, they had to protect the bishop, so I'm going to continue protecting that pawn by dropping back here, where I'm also protecting my rook. I assumed they're going to... Yeah, I assumed they were going to try to line up there. I guess I should just play this pawn then. Now they're aiming after that pawn too. Not bad, but that's not a check. And this would be, but then their king comes up here. What can I do about that? Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and do this. If they take that pawn, they take it, I guess. There's not much I can do about it. Oh, they're coming after the rook. Okay. Well, I was thinking about checking. That's a weird move, isn't it? Because they could have just gotten the pawn anyway. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and check. And they have to go up. And there's too bad there's not a way for me to wiggle in there, is there? Let's see. Because this pawn is stopped. And I can't, can I protect that one? Oh, I can go here, but then if they take my queen, that would double my pawns and they'd still get that. Guess I can go here and line up, make sure that my rook is protected so they can't come after it. I can go, oh, they took with the, okay, and I assume they're aiming for a check, but I think I can get out of that. You know what, though? I'm going to go ahead and play the H-pawn just in case I'm not able to get around on the F-file. Okay, I guess that makes sense. It's too bad my own pawn's in the way. I would sure love to check here, but maybe I should just come down here and threaten their queen and see if they want it. Oh, they checked. Okay. They did not want the queen trade, but now they get this pawn. What I'm going to have to do is find a way to get here before too long, like this. Okay, they did get a pawn, and now they can get this one. That's frustrating. Okay, and now we are even on material. How can I protect that pawn? I can't, can I? Oh, I can push this up. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You know what? I'm just going to go here to where I can protect that pawn and threaten that one at the same time. I know I'm running out of time here, but I'm going to have to come in this way. And they're counting on their two passed pawns here, so I've got to start checking pretty quickly and hope that I can do it. I assume their king's going to try to run around this way, and I'm going to try to thwart that somehow, because I don't think they have an immediate way to attack me. They're going to have to do maneuvering before they can attack me. Okay, well, I gave my opponent something to think about, okay? And good for them for taking their time. Also, they're in the way of both of those passed pawns right now, so that'll, even if I wasn't threatening checks, they would have to spend time getting out of the way. Okay, they chose not to get out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and take here with check. It needs to go this way, because if it goes down, I'm going to have checkmate pretty soon. Pretty sure it has to go to h3, where I will check again with the rook, and then it has to come up to g4, where I can check on e2, right here, I think. And now they have to go there. And if I come in here, is that mate? Oh, they changed the graphics. That startled me and took away a little bit of the fun of winning. Oh, and I got 19 points for that. Is that because I've waited so long to play my next rapid game? Okay, well, good game, Abdal something from Turkey. Okay, which they have spelled a different way than I'm accustomed to, but I assume it's the same country. Let's run the game review and see if if I gave it away at any point, and if so, if I did make blunders or mistakes, hopefully I'll understand them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and oh, we both played very badly. Wow. Oh, I much prefer the ones where I had one huge, I would prefer to lose if there was one huge blunder that was obvious that I could learn from, but here there's 5 misses on my part. No, sorry, I played with the black pieces. 3 misses and 4 mistakes. And a bunch of them were in the latter third of the game here. I played like a 900. Oh my goodness. What? Well, that's disappointing. And I'm the one that made the first knight to c6 was my first mistake. Okay, let's see. Are the mistakes listed in this move list? Okay, well, let's just go to here and I will just try to use these colors as the markers to find my mistakes. That was inaccurate, so I should not have played knight to c6. Should I have developed the bishop? Because I was thinking about that. No, I should have it says I should have played bishop to b4 check, and they would have played c3. No, it's changed. It's mine. It said e5 now. And they would have put the knight back, and then I would have played bishop to b4 check, sorry. But again, they just would have played c3, and then I would have had to bring the bishop back here to c5. Is it that I want them to play c3 because it takes away a development square from the knight? And so I was only up by 0.4 here, so how bad did this set us back? This brought us to even if they take, which they did, and I took back with the pawn, so we're even now. Okay. All right, that's not an elementary mistake for sure, because I didn't hang a piece or anything. I just didn't make a move that the engine thought was slightly better. And since it was only half a point of evaluation, I have a hard time thinking of that as a mistake. And certainly without an instructor or a master here telling me, exactly why that was so much better for me, I'm not going to feel bad about that one. Okay, my next mistake wasn't until here. Now here, okay, that was a mistake. Okay, I remember, I knew as soon as I played it that was a mistake because it took one defender off of this pawn and blocked another defender of that pawn. So yeah, that makes sense. Let's see, what should I have played instead? Should I have pushed the pawn? See, I didn't want to. And the reason that I did it was because I wanted to push my e-pawn, but nothing was defending the knight except this. And, oh, e4 is one of my better moves. Really. If I had played e4, they would have just put they would have put the knight here blocking their bishop from seeing my knight. Is that what they would have done, though? They could have played it out here. That would have been a little worse. They could have put it on g5, would have been a little worse. They could have put it back on e1, which is even worse than that, or they could have taken the knight now. problem with taking the knight now for them is that I don't have to take back immediately. I would take their knight first, threatening their bishop, so they would be encouraged to take back, but then I open my king. So even though I'm up 4 points of material, my king is open, and they're going to immediately try to come get this. Queen to c3. Oh no, they're going to play a4. So back to the point at which I made my mistake. I do know what I played as a mistake, but now e4 is not listed. Okay, so rook a to b8 would have been better, or a4. Sorry, I don't want to leave that on there while I'm listing my other moves. Rook a to b8, a4, rook a to d8. So both of those, knight to e4. Okay, see, I don't think I said anything, but I briefly considered that, but that seemed like just a one move threat on the queen, and then the queen would just move back. And in that line, it says that I would put my knight back on f6, or queen to e7. No, e7's over here. Okay. If I'd played queen to e7, I understand that, because that's just shuffling pieces, I think. That's just waiting, right? And it adds a defender to the knight. It doesn't take a defender off this pawn. Okay, queen to e7 makes the most sense of all those moves to me. Got it. But instead, I took two defenders off of this pawn at once and just lost the pawn. But they were supposed to take the pawn with the bishop. It was a miss. Oh, because if they had taken with the bishop, then I would have needed to move my queen. But instead they took with the knight, which allowed this immediately. I didn't see that until a move later. When I played it a move later, it was inaccurate. Oh my. Or knight to e4 again. But instead, I played here? I'm not sure why did I do that? I guess because I was thinking of lining up with the queen and then pushing the d pawn, but I missed that pawn over there on the a file. They should have gotten that pawn out of the way now, but they didn't. And now I saw this, but now I'm supposed to take the c pawn. I should have taken the c pawn immediately, which would have threatened their queen. Okay, I understand that, but this was my third best move, and it wasn't horrible, and they shouldn't have taken it, because they're going to lose their knight for free anyway after they take my bishop. So it says their best move is to take the c pawn. Really? But then I would, because that's an even trade. I think I understand why this is better, but I'm not sure. And I can certainly see why my opponent wouldn't find that. They played their second best move, which was taking here. It shouldn't have been counted as a miss. And it was not best for me to take the knight. It was best for me to take this pawn first, but instead I took the knight. My thinking was if they took my pawn, I would have this. But it says if they took that pawn, I would take with my c pawn, but oh yeah, because of where their bishop is. Okay, right. If they had taken here, I was going to probably take with the pawn or the knight. I don't know. And then but if I took with the pawn, then my rook's not lined up with their queen anymore. Okay, but I should have just taken this now, which lines up the rook with the queen, and then their queen has to get out of the way to block this pawn, and then I would get the knight. No, I wouldn't. Well, yeah, it says I would, and their queen's pointed right there, and they wouldn't trade. They would take the pawn. Okay, wow. All right, well, I don't feel bad about that. That's pretty complicated. They should have taken the pawn, but instead they lined up with their rook, which allowed my best move is queen to b8. I don't know why my best move is queen to b8. Queen to c7 was down the list, fourth, but that's what I played because I thought I needed to defend that pawn, but that's inaccurate. Now my opponent again is supposed to take the d pawn, but again, they didn't. They pushed this in here for unknown reasons, and now I'm supposed to take their pawn. Okay. But instead I played my second best move, which still leaves me up minus 1.5, which is to go after the queen. I thought they would take it. They did, and then I'm supposed to take here, so they have to move their queen. They did move their queen. Was I supposed to take the rook? Yes. They take back. Am I supposed to? Yes, rook to d8 is one of my two best moves. Okay, where's my next mistake? Right here. f6 was a mistake. I should have played c5. But if I had played c5, they were going to take here. But then I would play rook to d3. They would drop back one. What? And then I would play queen to e6, which does... I'm not sure what that does. Okay, or I could have played queen to b4, in which case, again, they would have taken here, and I would have played rook to d3, and they would have dropped back to continue defending their bishop. No, it says... Wait, what? Sorry, I got the two lines mixed up. If I played queen to b4, yes, it says they would still take the pawn on g7, and I would still play rook to d3, but then they would play queen to f6, which is here. Oh, in the past, when you clicked on that button, it expanded it so you could see more, but I can't see more now because now that little arrow does nothing. All right, well, that's not helpful. Why have the arrow there that lights up and turns into a hand when I go over it, but you can't see it because nothing happens? Well, I don't understand this mistake. Queen, what's my next one? Queen to a3. I don't understand that. They're still going to take that pawn. Queen to g5 protects the pawn, but it allows h4. And then I would play queen to h5, which doesn't defend the pawn, and they would still end up taking it. Okay, never mind then. Okay, so they should have taken this pawn, but they didn't. They came down here to threaten my rook and was checking my best move, yes. They only had 2 legal moves, and they picked the best one. Then they played that. They made a mistake, but now I made a mistake. Okay, see, the previous move, they should have taken the pawn, but now it's a mistake to take the pawn because I can play queen to d3. Oh, at -14 if I play queen to d3 now because I'm threatening mate. Wow. Okay, so the whole thing earlier where I chased their king around here, I could have started that immediately by playing here. Because if I play here now, everything leads to a mating sequence except for their very best move, which is king to h3, right? If they just play this, it's mate, right? Yeah. Okay, so they need to play king to h3, but I can still check them on f1, so I would check them on f1. They come out either to h4 or g4. It looks like h4 is just a little bit better, but then I can check them with this pawn, which it says they would take with their queen. What if they didn't take it with their queen? What if they just came here? Well, then I would take this pawn. Their absolute best move is bishop to d4, which is here. Well, then I'm going to check, right? They're going to go back to h3. And my best move is king to f7 now, but I can also just check them and be okay. So if I check them, they have to go back to here, and then my best move is king to f7 or king to g7. Or I could check them again there, which is a repetition. Stockfish always thinks repetitions lead to mate, but they don't necessarily. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Okay. I probably wouldn't have found a bunch of that. I certainly wouldn't have found the king move it was talking about. And every other move is much less than that. Oh, and it's not -14 anymore. It's -7 now. So still pretty good, but not nearly as good as it was when I first looked at it. Okay, well, I was worried about them back ranking me because I knew that my pieces, even though right now they're able to defend against that, like I could block a check with my queen, I was planning on doing stuff, you know, with my queen, and I didn't want to try to block the check here with their bishop, so I gave myself an out. But that wasn't good. All right, but then my opponent missed here, and then I should have played queen to d3 again. Mate in 13 if I play queen to d3. I went too far is what I did. They played one of their better moves, which allows me to run away. Well, that was my great move. Getting out of check was a great move. Come on. Okay. Chess.com is patronizing me right now, because it saw how poorly I played, so it thought I needed a pat on the back for figuring out how to get out of check. That makes me feel bad. That's a little bit of an insult. The getting out of check was a great move. Especially getting out of check to the square I had just created by moving this pawn, which it said was a mistake. It was a mistake to create the place where I could get out of check. But it was a great move to get out of check. My opponent should have just gone back here, I guess, to aim at this pawn. I have no idea why that's their best move, but instead they took this pawn, which seems like it would have saved a lot of trouble, right? Because why else would they have moved back here? Let's see. Oh, a4 aims at 2 pawns. But guess what? What they did takes one and aims at another one. And I should have played queen to d3. Queen to d3 is what I needed to have been playing this whole time, and I think it's because it aims there, which would be mate. But I protected it incorrectly and went there, which brings the game to even. All my opponent has to do to keep this game even is play here to e6, and then I need to go to d3, and then they need to play g4. I don't understand. I know that from here they're threatening a check. Oh, they're threatening a perpetual. Oh, I think they're threatening a perpetual check, because when they check there, I either have to come back or block with the pawn, and then they can check me again. Oh, they can't check me there because of my rook. Well, then I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know why that's their best move. Okay. Well, my opponent also didn't know why it was their best move, and they allowed me to check. Sorry, they allowed me to play rook to d2. Is that what I played here? Yes. Okay. So I finally found my best move here in this attack. My opponent didn't play any of those moves. They played this one, which took 3 moves off the mating sequence, which allowed me to check. And then there's apparently nothing they can do here. h5 is my best move. All right. h5 is what I had to play to win here. f5 is my next best move. But instead, I did not play that. I just checked them. That was just good. And they got out of check the only move that they could. And, oh, wow. Now my best move is rook to f2. But I checked, why is that bad? Oh wow, that takes us out of the mating sequence because they can get away to f5. But my opponent didn't know they could go to f5, so they went there, which is checkmate. Okay. I don't feel bad about that at all. And in fact, I don't think this rating here is accurate because so many of those mistakes and blunders were really hard to tell why they were mistakes or blunders. And it's rated me 80% before when I made just elementary blunders. So they've either changed the way that this accuracy is calculated or something's off with it. Because like I said, I've just hung a piece before, just a flat out hung a piece and still got rated 80%. And here, as far as I can tell, I didn't hang any pieces. So the fact that it said 58% is a little weird. But thank you for spending your time here. And if you did understand some of the mistakes or blunders that I said I didn't understand, I'm pretty sure I didn't understand any of them, feel free to let me know in the comments. I always appreciate those. Sometimes I figure it out between now and when you see it because I edit this and I see it again. And sometimes that's when I figure it out, but it's too late to say anything. But even if that's the case, I will appreciate you helping me, and I'll see you next time.